There are people who did everything right and still lost. And if you're not careful, you're becoming one of them. They worked harder than everyone around them and somehow ended up behind. And if you're paying attention, something about that doesn't make sense. Because this wasn't supposed to happen. You followed the formula: work hard, stay disciplined, be consistent, and eventually you win. But something feels off. Because the harder you push, the less the result seems to follow. At first, it feels fair. You give effort, you get rewarded. But over time, something starts to break, and almost no one notices when it happens. You can work twice as hard and still stay in the same place. Stop for a second, because this is where things start to shift. What if the problem isn't your effort, but the system your effort is feeding? Imagine someone working 10 hours a day, exhausted and doing everything right. And 5 years later, nothing really changed. Not because they're lazy, not because they lack discipline, but because the system they're in has a limit. Because hard work follows a rule that looks fair, but hides something. You trade time for money, and time is finite. That means something most people don't want to admit. No matter how hard you work, there is always a ceiling. And here's where it gets uncomfortable. Because the harder you work inside this system, the more dependent you become on it. The system doesn't reward effort, it rewards position inside the system. That's what changes everything. Because while most people are selling time, others are building systems, and systems behave differently. They don't stop when you stop. They don't depend on your energy. They don't reset every day. This is where leverage enters the game. One action multiplied, one effort scaled. A worker works once and gets paid once. A system works once and keeps paying. If this is starting to shift something in your mind, take a second to like this video, share it with someone who needs to see this, comment what just clicked for you, and subscribe, because this is only the beginning. But here's the part most people never realize. They were never taught to build systems. They were trained to operate inside them, follow instructions, complete tasks, stay busy, wait for reward. That's not freedom, that's controlled productivity. You were not trained to win the game. You were trained to keep it running. And once you see that, something changes. Because now you can't ignore the question anymore. Are you working or are you building? Because the truth is, most people never escape this cycle. Not because they can't, but because they never see it clearly enough. They keep pushing harder. They keep sacrificing more. They keep hoping something will change. But nothing changes, because the system never changed. Working harder in the wrong system doesn't move you forward. It locks you deeper. And once you understand that, everything becomes uncomfortable. Because now you see the pattern everywhere. People trading time, people burning energy, people stuck in loops. And the worst part, they think they're progressing. Because now the real question appears. If hard work isn't enough, what actually creates wealth? And once you start looking for that answer, you realize something even more disturbing. The rules were always there. You were just never shown them. And the moment you start seeing them, you can't go back to thinking the same way again.